Chicago been going through a lot of neighborhood violences, a lot of shootings. And invariably, the first thing that's said, especially about shootings in the black community, that is definitely has to be black on black crime. It has to be black hands that's doing these shootings. And I keep asking everybody that tells me this, if you don't catch the person doing it, how can you say what that person looks like? It's a pretty logical statement. We can do educated guesses about the identity of these shooters. But those educated guesses are not always accurate. And the reason is because of subterfuge. I don't know, 6 or 7 years ago, I was posting in regards to these super realistic masks. They called them Hollywood special effects masks that was selling for $4,000 a pop, where a white man could put these masks on and these gloves, and then they look like a black man. Put a little brown makeup around the inside of their eyes, put the mask on, the mouth move, the nose move, the eyelids move, everything. These masks were so realistic. You could put a woman in a mask and she looked like a man. And these masks at the time were going for $4,000 a pop. And they were sold out. And my question to black people at that time was, why would black people wear a mask or buy a mask to do crime? They wouldn't, especially for $4,000 a pop. And those masks stayed sold out for years. So is it possible, black family, that there are white people that have bought these masks and then go into the black neighborhoods and just go shooting? Well, people say that they don't think that that's conceivable, even though there are people here in Chicago who have seen white people drop crates of guns off on street corners at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. I'm one of them. So, once again, black people, we are so willing to put a negative on ourselves where we give a pass or a possible pass to the people who have been oppressing us since they came out of the ice caves. And that's the part that really disturbs me, because what is going on now, the extinction of the white race is happening, right? It is in magazines, it is in newspapers. They are talking about this event. Black people, the Caucasian animal has known they've been going extinct for over 4 decades at least. The numbers are dwindling faster than a pig sliding through slop. So what would happen, black people, when there's no more 100% Caucasian on the planet? What will we do? Well, you won't be able to blame white people for anything. Then everything that will be bad will be by black hands. Are you going to rise to the occasion? When there is no more 100% Caucasian, when they take the lies out of our school books, like Christopher Columbus discovering America, or Ben Franklin discovering electricity, or Copernicus discovering whatever the hell he was supposed to discover, when all these lies are taken out of the books that we have been taught all our lives, what's going to happen then? When you find out that your ancestors had not only had electricity 7,000 years ago, but also had lasers 7,000 years ago, lasers. When you find out that all the surgical instruments that are used in a hospital, 95% of those instruments, you can trace those back to at least 4,000 years ago, and that your ancestors were doing successful brain surgery as early as 3000 BC. What are you going to do then? When you realize that all of the styles of the world generated from black thought, and that white people have imitated everything that you are, will you still get your hair permed? Black women, will you still be perming your hair? When everybody tells you that perm, that lie is actually putting cancer into your scalp, and then you worry about, where am I getting this ovarian cancer and this breast cancer from? When you find out that all the meats that you're eating are killing you. Are you going to stop when it's only black people telling you that? Because it seems like the only time black people will take heed to anything is when a white mouth says it. White people tell you that something is bad, it's bad. White people tell you that COVID is widespread and this Delta variant and everything else, and wait a minute, there's another variant, because they're not even talking about the Lambda and the Beta variant. They don't tell you about those. When they finish telling you that everything is bad, you distance yourself from it. If they're no longer around, will you heed the words when black people tell you that this is good or this is bad? I wonder. For well over 400 years here in the United Snakes of America, we have been force-fed lies. Force-fed, I do mean force-fed, by whips, chains, guns, fists. You are forced to believe that you are a minority. You are forced to believe that there was a person named Jesus or Moses or Abram or Allah or Muhammad. You are forced to believe that Christopher Columbus discovered a continent that he never set foot on. All these lies that you are forced to believe, when there's no use in believing it anymore, black people, are you going to come back into the knowledge of exactly who you are and what you are? Begrudgingly, black people say, and I've had conversations with us, yeah, we the first people on the planet. Well, they don't make that leap in logic that if you are the oldest people, the first people of the planet, how could you become a minority? They still don't, most black people don't get that. If you are the oldest people on the planet and your people have been breeding, multiplying for millions of years before white people even existed, how could you be the minority at any time? You're not. We never have been. We never will be. If you also are the oldest people on the planet, meaning you are the first thinkers of the planet, how is it that white people invented anything? They couldn't have. The black woman invented math because the black woman had to keep up with her monthly cycle, tied into the lunar cycle. So it stands to reason that she invented the first calendar. Well, the evidence of that is coming out, and white people know it, but they don't want you to know it, because if you knew that you invented everything that you see around you, metal, clothing, language, math, science, biology, astronomy, everything, you invented it. Why is it that you don't know it? That's like a mother pushing a baby out of her belly and not knowing that child. It's ludicrous. Yet, we fall into that and allow that. We allow the state to tell us how to raise our children. We allow the state to tell you how to punish your children. You allow the state to tell you that if your 8-year-old son comes to you and say, "Daddy, I'm a girl," you have to honor that and say, "Okay, you're a girl." If your 7-year-old, you also got this. Be careful. If your 7-year-old daughter comes to you and says, "Mommy, I'm a boy," and you say, "No, you're not," there's a possibility you go to jail for what is it? Forcing a gender wheel. I don't know what kind of goofiness it is, but we allow it. You allow it. And not only do you allow it, you put peer pressure on others around you so that they allow it as well. The whole gay agenda. How is it that a movement called Black Lives Matter has been usurped by homosexuals. How is it that the leaders of Black Lives Matter are 3 lesbians? How could Black Lives matter to them when they will not even have the normal sex to have a black life? Doesn't make any sense. And it's crazy that in this city, the city of the big cat, and I'll let you deep researchers look to see why I call Chicago the big cat. Why in this city, the person that executed Laquan McDonald was out of jail before Laquan McDonald's body had decomposed. And we still defer to them. Black people, long before ancient Greece was even thought of, long before Macedonia, long before the Hyksos and the Habaru came out of the ice caves, the Hittites, the Amu, long before they were ever in existence, black people ruled in harmony with this planet. We built cities with paved streets lit with electric lights. There's evidence of that going back 1,000 years. That's not a long time. I tell black people, look up Eredo, the city of Eredo, E-R-E-D-O, roughly 1000 BC, was the center of trade of the planet. There's a wall 7 stories tall, still around what used to be Eredo, because the white people ransacked that city, reduced it to rubble. A city twice the size of London, a 7-story wall around it, 100 miles long. That's longer than the Great Wall of China. But black people haven't heard anything about it. Your people did that, and that city was in existence 1,000 years ago. But they want to force feed you some shit about Greece and Rome. 2 societies that were so perverse, they had to invent words to describe their own behavior. Agape love. Most Christians will, when you say agape love, the Christ stains jump up in joy. Agape love is the highest form of love, and that we have to do as our Savior gave us that love. Agape. And I dare you to look up the etymology of the word agape. And when you look it up and research, you find out that that word comes from a behavior of a man going to a child's parents, giving them gifts so that that male child can come and live with them in exchange for sexual favors. That's what agape love means. Christians, I will bet you every dollar I have, any dollar I will ever have, that's what agape love means. Homosexual pedophilia, that's what agape love is. That is the symbol of your cross. The small penis up and the large penis down. This is an arm, eternal life. A womb at the top, ovaries, fallopian tubes, and vaginal canal. Flip it over, testicles and penis. That's life. That is the cycle of life. Anything else is a perversion of that. Yet we rush to be perverted like them. You shit on your history and grab onto theirs and think that theirs is better than yours when yours was the first, it was successful. Black culture has been in existence for millions of years. In the most ancient language, the Medu Neter, what you call the hieroglyphics, for more disrespect, there's carving in stone saying that what you call ancient Kemet was founded 2 million years ago. 2 million years, not 4,000. Because Menes or Nama reunified Kemet 4,000 years in 4000 BC. I'm sorry, 6,000 years ago. About the same time that the Caucasian was escaping the ice. Black people All we have to do to be successful in this life is stop fucking with them. That's it. Stop helping them. Stop giving your energy to the people that oppress you. Stop giving your assistance to people who poison you. Stop giving your assistance to people that raped your great-great-grandmother, cut your great-great-grandfather's penis and genitals off, and hung him from a tree with his pants hanging around his legs. The first sags. The first sagging. Stop. Just stop. You don't have to beat them. You don't have to kill them. All you have to do is stop fucking with them. Because they have fed off of your energies since they came out of the ice. If your ancestors had not have taught white people how to survive in the sun 6,000 years ago, they would not be here today. That's a fact. If the Moors, when they conquered Europe, 711 AD, when the Moors went into Europe, the 700 years of black rule of Europe, if the Moors had not have shown them alcohol and soap, they would have died. The plague was taking them out. If the Moors had not have taught them, get the sheep and the cat and the chickens out of your house, and taught them the concept of a corral, they would be extinct today. The enslavement period would not have happened. The transatlantic slave trade wouldn't have happened. If the Moors hadn't have taught them, hey, go to this country in Africa and you'll be able to steal these people. Matter of fact, we'll help you. We'll sell them to you. So all you people who grab onto the Moorish label, yeah, Moors did some great things, but they fucked us as well. Because if it hadn't been for the Moors, Cristobal Colon and those barbaric Spaniards would have never found land. They would have died on the seas because they were too stupid to navigate by the stars. Everything that I've been saying in these videos, everything that I put on Facebook that they keep banning me for, I researched. The 12 years, almost 13 years of my consciousness. I want black people to realize this. When I was a child in the late 60s, my parents were forced to put us in schools. And if children did not go to school, parents could be put in jail. But what were the schools teaching? Christopher Columbus discovered America. Benjamin Franklin discovered electricity. Copernicus discovered this. Galileo did this. Magellan did this. Europe was this. Rome was this. Greece was this. We were force-fed lies. Lies. And if your parents did not agree to you being force-fed lies, they would go to jail. Just like today, if you did not allow your 6-year-old daughter to grow up as a boy because she wanted to be a boy, they could put you in jail. It's the same shit. But that's a choice that you allow that. You allow that. When the Hyksos came into Kemet, 17 to 1800 BCE, there was a famine in Asia. Remember, Europe is not a continent. That's another lie. Continent by definition are large land masses surrounded by water. Europe is part of Asia. So when they came into Africa, came into Kemet during the famine, your ancestors had pity on those animals. They showed them how to get rid of the lice that they were infested with. They showed them what to eat. The blacks in Asia showed them what reptiles were, because black people, reptiles do not live in temperatures minus 100 to minus 200 degrees. So for the existence of their time in those ice caves, they never saw a poisonous snake. If there were all these black people on this bus, never saw a poisonous snake, and I threw a rattlesnake at this brother's feet, he wouldn't know the